welcome to the SLO City Together Podcast.
We're here.
We are here. We're back 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row.
They said it couldn't be done.
So much energy, so
right.
much joy.
Yeah.
Were we on last week?
No, you were sick.
Were you on?
No, I didn't do anything.
Yeah. Okay, so we weren't on 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, that's right. Oops.
Time flies when Brent has the bone aching flu.
But you're here and you're with us in your life.
I am. I'm well.
That's
I made
good.
it. Thought I was going to die. Everybody got it. Everybody got it.
I don't know. I mean, knock on wood. I don't know how I haven't gotten
Well,
it.
you're at a kind of like baseline of having it all the time. You kind of always have a little sickness.
I always get sick. I'm the sickest person I know.
Apart
from Jordan, but he more just claims to be sick.
Yeah, Jordan is fearful of sickness. You are more sick.
Yeah. That's a good way.
You're just a sickly guy.
It's true. This past year, not once but twice, I got sick, got better, and got sick a week later.
Yeah.
Which maybe that was just like it revamped itself. It probably wasn't like a new thing.
I think you should go get some tests.
I've gotten blood work done.
Yeah, what they say, you're totally fine.
Yeah, they're like, you look great.
Isn't that the most annoying thing ever?
Yeah.
You're like, tell me something's wrong. Because I don't feel good.
Yeah.
This has been a gnarly year for me.
You've been sick a couple times.
And I don't really.
Bad. Yeah. Our candle went out.
Oh, no.
I think it's officially done.
I don't really get sick a ton.
Yeah, you don't.
And then this year,
especially like knocking you out sick, like putting you down.
Jenna said, you're like one of those people that even though you should skip something, you're like, I'm going to power through it just to do it. And I have not. There's been 3 instances this year where I have not been able to do that. It was COVID early in September, I think. I got the stomach bug after a trip to Mexico. And then whatever this was last week was just,
yeah.
I think this is the worst one.
Really?
I think so.
Huh.
Just like in the moment, the pain.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I told you, I was like, is my leg broken? My bones hurt so bad. And I feel like I'm a healthy person. You're a healthy person. But like sometimes you're like, I had the perspective this week of like, man, if I was like 20 years older, this would like, I don't know if I would recover from this.
Yeah.
And so then today I went and worked out a little bit. And it's still like, I'm just not as, I just feel weak. It's weird. Anyway.
That's interesting. Jenna was saying, because Jenna did the announcement video. Spoiler alert for Sunday.
Wow.
Jenna's on the announcement video. And she was saying her voice felt weird.
That was the announcement jingle.
Yeah. No, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert jingle. Her voice does feel weird to her.
And I said it's probably because you probably haven't talked a lot. Because you were sick. When you're sick, you don't want to talk a lot. At least I don't personally.
Yeah. So she's just been like coughing.
That too.
Like, or like coughing, talking more.
Yeah.
In the form of coughing. Using your vocal cord.
Vocalizing. I don't know. It's talking.
Yeah.
Did you ever have your tonsils taken out?
No. Did you?
I had mine taken out when I was about 10 years old.
Why? Did you get strep throat a lot?
I did, and they were large tonsils. I often felt nauseous, like they were just like taking up a lot of space in there.
Is that why you talk so quiet?
Could be. It could be that.
But so you were sickly as a child.
But I wasn't sick. I just felt sick, and I was totally fine.
I don't know why I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just laughing with you.
Yeah, I get it. I don't feel made fun of. It's all good. But I don't know if you've ever had to do like any sort of vocal recovery before, but it's not fun. I will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a week where I couldn't really talk or eat much.
How did you recover? Did you have to do like bumblebee?
There wasn't any sort of like physical therapy or anything like that.
Said like take it easy, don't talk?
I think so, yeah.
Huh.
But my brother would try to intentionally make me laugh because he knew that it hurt me. It was a way of older brother torment.
That is fun.
But I remember hanging out with friends like a week later. I remember hanging out with some friends a week later, and they're like, "Why is your voice so weird?" Because it was really high.
Yeah.
Because of the surgery. So.
Yeah, I never had my tonsils out. I do think.
I like how your voice went higher as you were saying that. It's like a demonstration.
But I feel like I have vocal issues. Cole had his adenoids taken out.
I don't know what that
Google
is.
that.
I'm going to.
I don't know. It was like he had strep throat a lot as a kid. He was a sickly child. And he had strep throat all the time. And we thought he had to have his tonsils taken out, but they don't do that much anymore, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty intense surgery. And so I think they thought let's just go for these smaller nodes called adenoids. Do you see it now?
Adenoids are glands located in your upper airway just behind your nasal cavity. So yeah, it's kind of like upper back of the
What
throat.
are their use? What are they used for?
Part of your lymphatic and immune system. Your adenoids help fight off germs that you breathe in through your mouth and
nose. So why would you take the germ-fighting nodes out of your nodes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Adenoids?
I think that's what tonsils are too, though. I think they help with germs, even though they
catching germs.
Strep throat.
So
a lot,
weird.
But
and as humans, we're like, you know what? That part of the body that fights off germs, we're taking that out because you're too germy.
Yeah. How does that work?
I don't know.
Same with your appendix. Your appendix plays some sort of role that I don't remember.
Some sort of role, but
it's like, well, you don't need
only the Lord knows what the role is.
There's so many parts of our body, especially internally, that we can just get rid of. If it's not working.
What's another one?
Kidneys. Just get rid of a kidney.
One kidney.
Right.
You need at least one or half of one.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You can take out part of your liver.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Not the whole thing. Just part of it. Yeah.
You take out your knee.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to put it back in. But
you don't need a knee.
You don't have to.
You don't need a
straight leg.
What else do you not need to survive? Lots of things.
Toes.
Fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smell.
Many appendages. They're not necessary components.
So we're doing great because we have our fingers, we have our toes, we have our knees.
You have tonsils. I don't.
I have tonsils and adenoids.
Wow.
But I will say, go back to the voice.
Yeah.
I feel like I lose my voice in weird ways. Have you noticed it? Like especially on Sundays. So I sang forever. I used to sing in choir in middle school and high school, not in college. Cincinnati Bible College should not have a choir, and I would not have joined it if they did.
Were they against
singing? No, they were not against singing. They probably did have a choir. I just didn't.
You didn't know about it.
Want to be a part of it.
That's fair.
But so then I start ministry leading worship, and I think I would feel like vocal tiredness afterwards. But then, what's been fascinating to me is in preaching how much more my voice is tired after preaching.
For sure.
And I'm not like a yeller.
Mm-mm.
I project, but I'm not like a yelling preacher, right? There's some of these guys I watch. I'm like, how do you, for one, how do you make it? How do you do that? Like, how does your blood vessels in your head just not exploding?
Right.
But yeah, have you noticed towards 10:45 service, I'll be like, it'll just kind of sound all like Kermit the Froggy.
It sounds tired.
Or sounds like even higher. It goes a little higher.
It's higher, yeah. And
isn't that
almost
weird?
Breathier or airier. I don't know how to describe
That's
that.
hurtful.
No.
Breathy.
That's how mine gets too, though. We're in the same boat. I think that's how. But then.
Hey, come on here. Welcome to the Sacred Church. My name is Brent.
But does yours the next day? When my voice is tired, the next day it's lower, at least for the morning. I mean, it's always a little bit lower in the morning, but you feel really
good.
Yeah,
you feel better. You feel better with a lower voice.
I do. Yeah,
I know.
Here we go.
I want a little bit of sickness, so I sound a little bit deeper.
Yeah. It's like that episode of Friends, right? Where what's her name? Phoebe.
Yeah.
Gets sick and can sing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's like that.
It is fascinating though. I've been thinking. Well, I don't know if we talked about this on there, but how do we start this? Sickness.
Yeah.
Voice. Jenna's voice.
Jenna's voice.
It's all Jenna's.
Jenna's the inspiration. Yeah.
She's the inspiration. No, I just think the
I was like, why were you saying something?
I was thinking about the physical aspects of a Sunday morning of preaching, of teaching, of singing.
Yeah.
It does require rest.
Yeah.
I know many friends in worship ministry who've developed polyps on their vocal cords.
Mm-hmm.
Probably from singing improperly.
And but doing it a lot. You can sing improperly if you don't do it a lot.
I think I sing improperly from my throat.
Mm.
And so I think I probably have polyps on my or had. But you can like lose your singing voice. We know friends who have tragically.
I mean, even Abby's dealt with that to a degree. She can still sing, but it feels physically different.
She can still sing
when she sings. So
yeah.
And
then like from preaching, I read a couple articles this past year about like the physical toll and exertion that puts one under, which I don't necessarily feel in the moment.
Yeah.
But the older I'm getting, the more I'm feeling it really on Monday. I feel great on Sunday, but then on Monday, I just feel like I got ran over by a bus.
Yeah.
Like just in my eyes and my face and my coordination.
Motor skills. I was going to ask you about that because I don't think we've talked about that. Maybe this is not interesting to people at all.
It's probably not.
But that you did share with me that article. Do people know that we even
have a podcast anymore?
Yeah, Jenna does. She said she was excited about it.
Oh, good. So. Good. Thank you. And Al Heinrichs asked if we were recording today.
Yeah. You sent me an article about, it was basically detailing the physical toll of...
I was trying to make you feel bad for me.
Yeah. No. Yeah, for sure. See how hard I work every week?
Physical toll.
You see what
preaching?
I'm putting my body through? But it wasn't just preaching. It was like, I mean, probably the same if you're, Hannah and Kristen, a kids pastor, teaching kids and working with kids for 4 services and leading worship and those kinds of things. But it was a wild statistic about how like one Sunday morning, I guess depending on how your services are, all that kind of thing, is the physical equivalent to a 40-hour work week.
Oh, I just read it right here. According to Tim Spivey, some experts have compared the physical toll of preaching a 30-minute sermon to an 8-hour workday.
That's what I'm saying. Is that true? I just feel like
that's a bunch of pastors trying to get pity. I'm just going to be honest.
I need more PTO.
I need more PTO.
To see what I'm doing?
I need more people to feel sorry for me.
Like, it doesn't say statistically. Like, studies have shown. It's just like some people have
Who's the
insinuated.
Yeah. I mean,
Tim Spivey.
I don't know. I think it does like tap into like the adrenals, like I'm sure like with every other physical, it's a physical act and it's a mental thing and it's a spiritual thing and it's very like, I don't know what it does.
Yeah.
I mean, an 8-hour workday. So
because that means what's 8 times 4, 32?
I preach a little longer than 30 minutes.
That would mean you're every Sunday.
Yeah.
On one day exerting 32 hours plus of labor.
I'm gonna need.
I know it's hard, but I'm like, I don't think, even if we feel tired on Monday, I don't feel like that's the case. But maybe it's like what you're saying. It's like more. It like catches up with you later. Maybe that's. I mean,
there's a lot of articles about this out there, and I have not seen them until the past 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if just people are more tired than they usually are.
I feel like I worked 8 hours already.
But I've heard people talk about like their adrenal glands being shot and just feeling like I don't know. And I don't know what that does, right? It just gives you like you don't feel like the energy or like because you just work it so much.
Yeah.
There's like this like dopamine
plummet,
right? Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that documentary on the guy who climbed the mountains without a rope?
Free solo?
Yeah.
I've seen snippets and like some behind the scenes stuff, but I never watched the actual documentary.
I mean, he talked about what so many things are fascinating about that, but one of the things that I thought was really interesting was that he talked about like now that he's doing these crazy things, it's like he needs to pursue crazier things to feel alive.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like so your body, it's kind of like your body gets used to the cold water and you need colder water.
Yeah.
I don't know to like and I don't know where the bridge is there, but I just think I watched that for him and I'm like, man, like you're doing something incredible every week. You're climbing these mountains and you're not feeling anything.
Yeah.
But then I do think there's a danger in any profession or any trade or anything to like not taking care of yourself to where you're not actually experiencing the thing that you're a part of. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
In a very like life-giving way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even it makes my mind think about like how adaptive our bodies are, especially our minds. Like, and this is the kind of dark side, but if you think about like you can be in a traumatic situation and like mentally you just learn to normalize it, and adapt to it. So I think it's kind of the same concept of like, you know, it's kind of like what we talked about. Like board games have a level of stress to them, right? But it's like a fun thing. It's like that's kind of the same thought. That was
the last time we talked on this podcast.
It was, which was not last week, but
it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same concept of like if climbing a mountain becomes like my body is able to adapt to that, and so I don't know where I'm going with that either, but it's where my mind goes.
But Jenna's voice is gone.
It's not gone. It's not gone.
I do think it's, I mean, it kind of brings me to just think about like the need for physical, emotional, relational, mental health, rest. I mean, that's what we talked about 2 weeks ago, about just like being okay with resting. You know, that's honestly the hardest part of sickness for me is like sometimes the guilt or the wave of stress I will fear of not being at something and that's been a really, we talked about it at staff meeting, but that's been a really new blessing and challenge that I've needed to step into, is saying like, I don't have to be at that or I don't, you know, somebody else is going to teach that and I'm just going to come and enjoy it. That's what I've loved the seminars, because I feel like they've been restful. I mean, I'm tired at the end of them because I'm old and I want to go to bed at 9 and I'm tearing down tables. But, you know, I think like to discipline yourself to like recognize that, be okay with like, you know what, I'm working hard, I'm doing a good job, and I need to probably rest to rejuvenate, so that I'm not just doing this for 5 years. I'm going to do this for the next 50 or the next whatever, you know, so that I can actually, I don't know. That's a discipline to learn. Yeah. And I'm not as young as you anymore. And that's okay. So I'm even going to, although I'm not as sickly as you, so I feel bad.
So that's a trade-off.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even just being aware of that, like, I'm not old. I'm 41, you know, but at the same time, I'm not 21. Yeah. And so I can't live at the clip I was living at 21. You know, like that awareness and that permission to have limits has been really challenging for me, even in like, no, I'll do 7 services because I love it so much. And I'm just going to, and I'll be there on Monday at 7 a.m. I'm like, well, that's stupid, Brent. Like, why are you doing, you don't need to do that. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I resonate with that. I feel like even, you know, I'm younger than you in a different season of life, but I feel like that's something that is becoming more real to me, is like the recognition of limitations, like not just in time, but even now, like physically, like, I mean, I'm still probably in like
in the best shape of your life.
Right. Yes. You know, but you know what I mean? Like, but I've noticed like changes, and I'm thinking about, you know, I'm 28, I'll be 30 in a year and a half, which is a long time, but you know, like I recognize, you know, from friends who have turned 30, like, okay, like I've started having back problems when I was 30 and I started getting these or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, so now is the time to
be aware
and be proactive in preparing for that. Like, so you're not just like, oh, there's the pain, let's recalibrate the habits. You know what I mean? So I think that has been like a shift for me. And recognizing like right now, you know, if let's say if I go a month without running, like I can get back to a point where I can run 10 miles in like a week, you know, but that's not going to be the case in 10 years, you know? So like being consistent with those habits is like going to benefit me in the long term. So you kind of have to think about that in the short term.
Well, like it
starts now.
And even like this past Sunday is an example of like how I'm trying to even grow in this. Like, you know, so I was sick last week and I was like, we kind of had a plan B, but I wrote the message and then I'm like, I feel good. I feel like I can do it. I'm just going to sit down. And then we did 3 services and then start here lunch. And I was just like, couldn't really see. And I'm
Which is not a good sign.
I mean, I was like eating lunch and I'm like, I just need to lay down. Yeah. And I'm like, I could probably rally and do a 30-minute message on Sunday night. Yeah. But Tatum had prepared for the plan B, and he had Tatified the message to fit his tone and his voice. And I'm like, you know what? This is a good exercise in letting go and honoring his work. Yeah. And honoring his preparation and being okay. And I don't know, like, and it was so nice. Yeah. It was so nice. I might let him preach every Sunday night. You know?
Yeah. Like, or just, find some different rhythms.
But I do think like, and even that's the beauty of the church is like, it's not a one-man show. It's not a one preacher show. It's a we church and not a me church. And I think, I don't know, to rely on people is a blessing too.
Yeah,
so that
for sure
has running tones, but also spiritual tones.
Mm-hmm. So people ask me a lot, like, you know, in the context of a conversation about doing 4 services, they'll be like, man, like that's probably tiring or whatever. And yeah, maybe this is backtracking a little bit, but like I always say, I mean, it's tiring, but I also like really enjoy it. You know, I'm sure like the same sentiment is true with you. Like,
yeah,
I feel like
I love it.
We would want to be at church all day anyway, even if this wasn't our job to be, you know? So it's like, but to recognize, I think other people's perspectives in that is important to see. Like I see the effort that you're exerting in doing that. And so,
But you do a good job though of sharing even the load and like empowering people to like,
my role.
Well, your role is very complex and people don't realize like you're leading the band. You've got creative elements of like slides, lights, all the sound that you're thinking about. And that's a mental load, but then you're also singing. You're also thinking about prayer, communion, different parts of the service, making sure everybody's in line. But I think you do a good job of at least like leading worship or singing a song to share the load with other people, so that you don't have to sing every song if you don't. Yeah. If you know, like, and you're putting other people up, and you're empowering Second Luke and Liv and Abby and Juliana and all those people. So anyway,
for sure. Well, I think it's important. I think it's again in line with the church vision, but that's like what the church is and always has been, is like the shared load and the committee. You know, so yeah. I think it's a powerful thing. I think our worship is better when we are doing it together and it's not dependent on one individual. So
it's really good. Have you been fishing in a while?
I've not. I don't
got a sport fishing club shirt on.
This is from Target. Oh. I've noticed, so you know how, of course, thrifting is like popular. Yeah. But now certain stores such as Target are designing clothes to look like thrifting, which is what this is. If you can see this on
look at that.
It just looks like a shirt your grandpa would have worn. Yeah. You know,
so funny.
So
now there's going to be like a revolt against it.
Probably.
You think?
But the funny thing is the new clothes that look like they're thrifted are cheaper than the actual secondhand thrifted clothes, which are $40 for some reason. I'm like, multiple people have owned this before me.
This has been in my dad's closet for 40 years.
Smells like mothballs.
Yeah, 1985.
And I get a little sniffly just being around it.
It's so weird. Like the fact that my kids are selling things on Depop.
They do that? They sell stuff?
They sell clothes.
Okay.
I'm like, you go to the bins at Goodwill, which is like $1 a pound or whatever. Yeah. And then they go and they put them online and they sell them to people who are like, I'll pay $40 for that jacket. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Who's buying it? Like, from where? And so we're constantly like, Cole's like, I got to go to UPS store. I'm like, no.
Cole's hustling, man. He's out here doing that.
Yeah.
It's the thing and the other part of it is like, sometimes the stuff that looks nicer is less valuable because I think like the dingier, dirtier, older it looks, like is more desirable. I remember going into Thrifty Beaches downtown and there's like, you know, I don't know what the term is, sport jacket, but like a Padres jacket, like the big puffy kind of leathery looking one. It was like $40 in great condition. And then there's a Dale Earnhardt shirt for $80, like t-shirt for like $80. And I'm like, I don't get why. I guess it's rarity.
I've got a gold mine in my closet then. I probably need to sell them.
Probably do, honestly.
I mean, Isaiah came in with a shirt on the other day. I was like, huh. I said, did you get a new shirt, man? And he goes, yeah. Vintage Gap. I was like, Vintage Gap? I bought that shirt, I'm pretty sure, in 1997.
Yeah.
Like,
just from Gap.
From Gap. Original Vintage Gap. I'm like, who would have known that you could just save all these? Anyway, so crazy.
It is.
See, like, I got out of Thrifty Beaches.
Yeah.
So crazy. It's a crazy thing. You know what? This has a spiritual bridge.
Okay, what is it? Let's bridge it.
You know what? Everything can be redeemed or repurposed. There it is.
What is that?
We should probably hang up now.
Hang up? You think it's a phone call? Well, I kind of that's sort of a bridge to even the new sermon series.
Oh,
that's starting.
What is that? What's the bridge?
The bridge is everything can be redeemed.
Oh,
and so we're starting a new sermon series called Unhindered.
Yeah.
This Sunday, which is really about, as far as I understand, and you can elaborate, but taking a look at your past, specifically like kind of family of origin stuff, and maybe even specifically some of the dysfunction, brokenness within that.
Yeah.
And seeing how we can find healing and a life of freedom.
Yeah.
In Jesus as we look back and work through some of those things.
Yeah, that's where week 1's starting is like, I think the title of the sermon I'm working through is called Family Pain, which is so much fun. And,
imagine scrolling through YouTube.
Family Pain.
Yeah, ooh.
I like that. That might be a catchy one.
I need something to uplift me.
Yeah. But I think like to look at Joseph's in Genesis chapter 37 and 39 and beyond, like to see what he walked through and how he actually became a man of character and integrity, faithfulness, marked by forgiveness and leadership. Mm-hmm. And he came out of so much dysfunction. Mm-hmm. And so like many of us have been kind of impacted by our family of origin or our story or our shortcomings. And so week 1 is all about that. It's about like, how do we acknowledge kind of our family pain and our family pits and kind of walk out the other side in freedom.
Yeah.
Next week will be a little bit different. It'll be more about like the pressure and the squeeze that we feel under to like maybe even give in morally to the cultural pressures around us. The following week will be like just Joseph in prison for 10 years being forgotten about and like being faithful. Mm-hmm. And then we'll kind of move into like the redemptive sides of his story of like how he acts towards his brothers, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a series I've looked at for like 6 months and been like, how is this going to, like, I kind of had a thought of like, here's where we're going with it.
Yeah.
And then as the closer we got, the more nervous I got. Cause I'm like, I just feel like it's fuzzy. And then 2 weeks ago, last week, even right before I got sick, Monday, I was like, okay, I think I know this is what we're supposed to do, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And I feel really excited about it now. And our groups at home are going to go through it. And, it'll be good. Yeah. I might even ask you to preach the last one.
Oh boy.
March 2nd. You free?
I think I'm free. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one though. That's like when he finally gets to the position and he's like, is now in a position after all this pain to do immense good for the whole region. Mm-hmm. And anyway, we'll talk about it after.
Okay, we'll talk about it. That sounds good. Well, that's cool. That's exciting.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Now I don't know what to say because I'm just no, I feel like I had something and I forgot. So that's pretty much all we've got. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Groups at home are starting this week. Yeah. If you're not in a group, there are still some groups available.
Or you can host a group.
You could host a group if there aren't any available, or if you just feel called to host a group.
Or you could just gather your friends.
Resources will be available online for group leaders. Last seminar is happening on Monday night. Tatum is teaching through a conversation on race in the Gospels. Yeah. Which will be
our
really
next
good.
Week's podcast topic.
Cool. Tatum will be on. Yeah. And maybe we can do a little follow-up conversation or just kind of check in with him and do all that. So, thanks for joining us today.
Okay. Stay well.
Try not to be sickly like me. But also don't be fearful of being sickly like Jordan.
Yeah.
I want to have Jordan back on. It's been too long.
Yeah, where's he?
He like works at
whatever. Work schmirk.
He's working on his degree stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Jordan, if you're listening to this, hi.
We love you. We miss you.
Yeah.
And
he's a fun addition.
He is. He brings a dynamic.
Do you think we could get a set change going on in here?
We can, yeah.
I'm kind of bored with this.
Yeah. I think we need some color.
Okay. We can paint this wall.
I think we can. Or just a logo. Some sort of logo. Would be awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you.